entertaining talking sports.
What is going on, Hoops fans? Back at it with another New York Knicks video. And in this video, I'm going to jump into a prospect for the New York Knicks that is getting a lot of us excited, myself included. I was watching the Knicks game last night. Couldn't stream it. I will be streaming the game tomorrow. I'll be doing the play-by-play. But I was watching that game last night, and Quickley was getting me excited. Last night, Immanuel Quickley dropped 31 points for the New York Knicks. And the more I see this kid, the more I start to believe, is it possible that finally, maybe, the New York Knicks have found their starting point guard? I went down a list of starting point guards that the New York Knicks have had just since 2010, and some of them are veterans that we brought over from other teams, and most of them did not work out at all. Some worked out in a short-term, lifespan, but other than that, not much at all. We have not had a long-term answer in terms of a 5 or 6 year stretch since, I guess, Charlie Ward and Chris Childs when they shared point guard duties. And even them, they were okay. Derek Harper. Since I've been watching the New York Knicks, we have not had a good, very good, young emerging point guard. Of course, we made the trade to acquire Stephon Marbury, and we all know that how that turned out. But if you look just since 2010, Raymond Felton, who gave us a good, half season or whatever it was before we traded him. Then we brought him back. He became Fat Felton. Didn't work out too well. Of course, that was in the Carmelo Anthony trade. Chauncey Billups, a veteran that we brought in, never really worked out too much. Tony Douglas, Jeremy Lin, of course, Linsanity, gave us about the most exciting 20-game stretch of our lives, but outside of that, didn't do much for the franchise. Baron Davis, who's one of my favorite non-Knicks of all time. When he came here, he was washed, he was finished. Jason Kidd gave us a great year as a part-time point guard in 2012 when he came over here with the 54-win season, but outside of that, not much after that. Of course, he was old by the time he got here. Mike Bibby, nothing there. Pablo Prigioni, Jose Calderon, Shane Larkin, Langston Galloway, Jerry and Grant, Derrick Rose. There's another veteran we brought over the same year we brought over Joakim Noah. You saw that worked out. Brandon Jennings, Ron Baker, Jarrett Jack, Emmanuel Mudiay, Trey Burke, Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr., and Elfrid Payton. You get the picture. And none of them have worked out to be a long-term answer at the point guard spot. Of course, Ntilikina is still on the roster, and we're hoping he can develop some kind of role in terms of being a contributor off the bench, or maybe a guy that you could stick in the starting lineup. But I don't think any of us view him as the long-term solution at the point guard spot, at least not at this point in time. When you watch a guy like Immanuel Quickley, who right now, by the way, is averaging the 5th most points by any rookie in the NBA, despite averaging less than 18 minutes a contest. He has been eye-opening. He's been very good when given the opportunity. Now, I'm not telling you he's a finished product, not even close. Knicks got him at 24 or 25 overall, wherever he went, for good reason. He's not a finished product. He's a little small for sure to be playing the point guard position. Maybe needs to bulk up a little bit more, but the guy could shoot the lights out. Right now, he's shooting 37% from 3. He's shooting 94% from the charity stripe. The field goal percentage needs to get an uptick. He's shooting 40% there, but one thing you definitely see in his mid-range game is that teardrop floater. He's definitely had that working for him. It's something similar to what Raymond Felton has. And last night when he put down that 31-point performance, it got me really excited as a New York Knicks fan. Of course, we'll remember what was said about Quickley when we brought him in. CBS Sports had this ranking of a D-plus grade for the New York Knicks. I liked the pick when I did some research on the kid because I knew for sure one thing the New York Knicks needed was a guy that could shoot the ball, and we still need that. The Knicks still lack shooting, but he has certainly added to that. He's certainly helped the New York Knicks in that area. The question is, could he be a starter long-term? Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't have that answer, but one thing I could say definitively, the New York Knicks need to start giving this kid a lot more minutes than what he's been getting. 18 minutes a game is inexcusable, and I think I could speak for most of us in the fan base that we're sick and tired of seeing Elfrid Payton get 30 minutes. Let's try to even that out a little bit. Of course, you got Ntilikina coming back soon, and it'll be interesting to see how the New York Knicks divvy up the playing time there, but we got to make sure we give Quickley as many minutes as possible to try to help develop this kid, because I do believe, and I don't know if it'll be as a point guard or as a shooting guard or as an off guard, whatever, a combo guard, I do believe that Quickley could have a significant role for the New York Knicks going forward. One thing he can't teach is his shot, and he's got it. He's as good as a shooter as anybody in terms of at the free throw line. He's got to work a little bit more on the three-point shot, but I see Quickley being a guy that at a bare minimum could be an efficient scorer off the bench as he continues to develop as a pro, as he has really looked good so far in a New York Knicks uniform. I wanted to pull up some of the quotes that Tom Thibedeau had to say about the rookie prospect out of Kentucky. Here's the first thing. It's impressive, and again, I think his shot making is a huge asset for our team, Thibedeau said. That's something that we needed, is shooting, and it'll open up the floor for us. But his all-around game gets better with each outing. he gets pressure on people, and defensively, he's learning. And as time goes on, he'll get better and better at it. And yeah, I've noticed that myself as well. He's gotten better. The last game I called, he really played well defensively. After a left hip injury for Quickley in the December 23rd opener against the Pacers, Thibedeau seized the 2020 NBA Draft's number 25 overall pick out of Kentucky, putting the pieces together. The preseason, he was really in a good rhythm offensively, shooting the ball, Thibedeau said. And then after he got hurt in the Indiana game, that layoff set him back some. He was out of rhythm when he came back. And so I think he's back into that rhythm. And it's something that we were confident about. And that's one of the reasons why we have drafted him, is his ability to shoot the ball. And yeah, I mean, that's obvious when they drafted him. When you saw his college statistics, he shot 92% from the free throw line. That's the first thing that jumped out to me. Next thing I have to say, but also, he's a great student of the game. The way he prepares himself for each game, those types of guys with this type of drive, they're going to improve. And I think the second time around, when he plays a team a second and third time, he'll have a better understanding of what they're trying to do and also what they're trying to do offensively. The way he studies, it'll get him a head start. But it's something that he's a great worker. He's a great teammate. People like to play with him. And I think he's adjusted quite well to the NBA game, taking everything into consideration. And that's all well and good to hear from Tom Thibedeau. But I think it's time that we need to start seeing Quickley out there a lot more with the New York Knicks. Like I said, I've been watching the Knicks for a very long time, and it's been a while where I could get excited, like very excited, over a young prospect that I feel could actually morph into being a starting point guard for the New York Knicks. And like I said, he may not be a traditional point guard. When the Knicks drafted him, I didn't really view him that way. I kind of viewed him as a undersized shooting guard when you looked at the numbers, and maybe that is eventually what he'll turn out to be. But in today's day and age with basketball, everything's positionless anyway, and we all know you need to be able to shoot to win. And I'd like to see the New York Knicks get a couple more players like Quickley to be able to stretch that floor in the future. But one thing I'll say for sure, at least as of now, that D plus looks a lot higher. I think if you could ask those people that said that was a bad pick on draft night, they'd probably change that grade right now, seeing as the way that Immanuel Quickley has played so far for the New York Knicks. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. And am I going to tell you that I think he's going to be the long-term answer at the point guard spot? No, I can't conclusively say that yet, but I'm going to tell you that I see potential. And I'm going to tell you that I see some hope for a guy that at a bare minimum could be a contributor off the bench for the New York Knicks. But I'm going to tell you what, this year the New York Knicks and Tom Thibedeau have to find a way to get Quickley out there more often. I understand why he comes off the bench. You need spark off the bench. We don't have a lot of scorers off the bench. He provides that punch. That's fine. That's all well and good if you want to continue to do that. But regardless, Quickley has to get more minutes. We need to see him grow as a basketball player this year and find out if he could be potentially a long-term answer for the New York Knicks in the backcourt. Because Elfrid Payton ain't cutting it. If there's one guy I can't stand on the basketball court for the New York Knicks, it's Elfrid Payton. He does not translate to the modern-day NBA at all. The guy shoots 70% from the free throw line. He can't shoot threes to save his life. Get Quickley more minutes. I think I speak for most Knicks fans when I say that. Can't wait to see how he continues to grow tomorrow. But when I saw him put down that 31 points, I said to myself, I got to talk about Quickley. And the other thing I really want to mention about Quickley that really impresses me, ironically enough, and I say it all the time on the live streams, is his initials, his IQ. You see this guy constantly trying to draw fouls on the offensive side of the basketball court. Whether he's shooting a three. There were so many times where I see Quickley try to draw contact, and he's been rather good at that. He's actually gone to the charity stripe, I think, on average 2.6 times a game, despite only getting 18 minutes, which is a lot for a guy that really doesn't operate from within inside the paint. The teardrop floater is definitely working. Keep working on that three-point shot, and Quickley, maybe a diamond in the rough. Of course, a lot of Knicks fans are still upset about Halliburton, but had the Knicks drafted Halliburton, you would have never ended up with Quickley. And let's wait and see how Obi Toppin continues to progress as he comes back from that injury. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.